Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Backwoods Investigations. I am your host, Blimp, the team leader for the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters and Cryptid Crime Scene Investigators. And tonight, on this episode titled Dark Bayou, Mr. Stacy Caughlin is on the line tonight, another member of Cryptid Crime Scene Investigators from Louisiana. He's on the show to talk about what he's found in his years of research, encounters, and reports that he's gathered, his theories, and a lot more. So without further ado, Mr. Stacy, thanks for coming on the show tonight, brother.
Glad to be on here, Blim. And, I'm happy you invited me on.
Whenever you started telling me you're from Louisiana and about all this stuff that you found and all this other, you've opened up a whole can of worms whenever it comes to me. Anyone from Louisiana I love talking to. On my second episode, Bono Russell, the host of the now canceled show Mojo Encounters, was on, and he talked a whole lot about the spooky side of Louisiana, and I love hearing about that. I mean, I don't delve into it, but I love hearing about it. So, um, again, thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
Okay.
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Yeah, my name's Stacy Caughlin. I'm originally born and bred in north central Louisiana in a little town called Jonesboro. I now reside in another little town in South Louisiana, a town called Thibodaux. I'm about an hour southwest of New Orleans and about an hour southeast of Baton Rouge. So it kind of puts me right down in the middle of the bayou down here. And, I've been interested in Bigfoot and the cryptid. My first Bigfoot encounter came whenever I was roughly about 10, 11 years old. We were playing in some woods out behind my grandmother's house in Jonesboro. And it's kind of funny because I'm the only one that remembers it. I think it's whenever kids are so young and teenagers and stuff, whenever you see something like that, a lot of times you'll blank it out of your mind. But for me, it did nothing but increase my interest in what's out there. We seen a cryptid, a Bigfoot. It was standing between two trees. It was hitting them. It was a little upset. And we all took off running back to my grandmother's. And I remember the only thing I could do is I just kept looking back down there, wanting to see more, see it again, just to be able to tell my own self what I seen. And from there, like I said, that interested me. I started reading books and reading different articles, and there for a long time in the late 70s, early 80s, Shreveport Times here in Shreveport, Louisiana, published several articles of Bigfoot sightings that were seen in north central western Louisiana. And then after that, I had a chance to go to Cross in Arkansas one night. They have a phenomenon up there called the Cross of Light. And the history behind that one is that there was a railroad conductor engineer that fell off a train and wound up being killed up there. And you go out there at night, you can see a light that moves up and down the old track bed where the train track ran through there. And the night I went up there and seen that, you would walk down and you would see it in front of you. It may be 300 yards in front of you. You keep walking, it's getting closer, it's getting closer, it's getting closer. Then all of a sudden it goes out. You turn around and look, maybe 100 yards behind you. No matter how fast you moved or which way you moved, you could never catch it or get exactly close to it. It was always moving. And a lot of people might think, well, it's a reflection or anything like that, but it never stayed in a direct height or movement. Now, the size of it would pretty much stay the same that you would suspect out of an old conductor's lantern. And that was just another stepping stone of my interest in cryptic and what's out there at night. Because being from Louisiana, we have a deep, vast history here of not only Bigfoot, we have the Rougarou, we have the Honey Island swamp monster. And back up in the swamps, there's things that are still back up in there we still don't know about. So there's no telling in the coming future of new cryptid that may be found in the swamps, not only Louisiana, Alabama, East Texas, where we have these marshy bayous and stuff.
Wow.
Further on in my life I went to, I've had other in and out of research and everything. And as you know, Blimp, I, as a member of CSI, I bring in a lot of the legends, the tales, the occult into the team and answer questions from there. Because a lot of my learning has come from legends, my Irish legends, Native American legends, the Germanic legends, because a lot of that was brought over here to America, the different countries' legends and everything. And there's nothing that says that a lot of the cryptid that originally was in the old world didn't get brought to the new world. One of the more in New Orleans, Louisiana, one of the more famous tales of that is that the original vampires that came to the New World in America, because originally New Orleans was a penal colony for the English. For the French, I'm sorry, it's a penal colony for the French. But they have a cathedral right off of Bourbon Street, one of the big famous cathedrals down there. And the story was that the original vampires that came to that town came in by way of some nuns that guarded them as they came across on boat and took them into this now abandoned nunnery. And they said on certain nights you go over there, and even though the place is abandoned and boarded up, you look up in the highest area of the building, and some nights you'll see the windows open, the shutters open, and some nights they'll be closed. And there's been reports of people over there that have actually seen a human figure up in the window of that old nunnery over there. So a lot of legends are based on some facts that we're going through now, and the more we research back into history, we're finding a lot of the cryptic that we're seeing now are not new, but they were forgotten about. Now that we're researching back through the legends, the stories, and everything, we're finding them, and it's given us a whole new area to get excited about and get excited about and enjoy investigating.
Let's start right there with the vampires. We got a lot to talk about tonight in this time slot. Let's talk about the vampires. People that has there been any encounters with the vampires?
Yes. There's been a few reports of people that I have heard of, monster mysteries that used to be on the old TV show, had interviews on there of people who ran into vampires, and they would get hypnotized. one young lady I heard the report about. She was at a bar, came out, ran into a gentleman. A gentleman very well dressed, very, very polite and everything. And his voice was hypnotic. And her friend just happened to walk out and tap her on the shoulder. She turns around and she says, I'm talking to this gentleman. Turned around and there was nobody there. In that area, it would not be uncommon to meet a vampire over there and not know that you're meeting one. The story of the old tales of the old bloodsuckers and stuff like that is, thank you Hollywood for bringing that kind of view out there. But you have several different types of vampires. Now, you yourself, Zach, have you ever been awake and you know you're awake and it's like all of a sudden you have like this flash of like a nightmarish experience, nightmarish thought, like, did I fall asleep? And it's like you just had a quick, sudden, like a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is more like when you have something like that, I'm not saying you did, but that is the after effects of what they call a psychic vampire. A psychic vampire will pull from somebody's mental emotions, their energy and emotions, and it's not like you're asleep, but all of a sudden you'll just have this quick flash of a nightmare. You'll see a quick flash in your mind of a nightmarish dream thought, and that's an after effects of what they call a psychic vampire. The blood vampires, which is another version, you'll run into a lot of that over there in New Orleans and a lot of other areas, and they're not what you would see in Hollywood. Like me, you talked about on other occasions, and I brought it up to you about with Land Between the Lakes, and we have it here, is we also have werewolf clans. And I know that's probably to a lot of your listeners and everything, that's probably stretching for their imagination to go to, but there are truth behind the legends that you've always heard. Now, don't take it as being a set deal with what Hollywood puts out there. Anne Rice, great writer. I love her work to death, but she was probably a little closer than what Bram Stoker was in his famous works. But yes, in New Orleans, the encounter, you not only got to be careful of the pickpocket, but you got to be careful of other things that go bump in the night that you may run into, as far as vampires or werewolves or anything else over there. Both groups over there, they leave people alone. They don't commit crime. They don't go out to hurt people. They pretty much want to live their lives and do their thing. Another deep-rooted area down here in Louisiana too is we have a lot of voodoo, a lot of what they call swamp magic.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of different religions, Sangria, and different things like that. And that came over from, a lot of that came over from Africa to Haiti to Louisiana. And from there, a lot of the mountain folk, when they came west, they brought their mountain magic. And here in Louisiana, it's just all kind of run together.
It's a smelting pot.
It's a smelting pot, it is. A lot of what you see, and you have to respect here in Louisiana, you have to respect the different cultures you're going to run into. And in that, a lot of times in my research is I will go to people I know and friends of mine that are into that, and a lot of things that when I'm reading a old cryptic report or anything like that, I may bounce something off them and get their input into it, because not only do you look at voodoo and swamp magic and up in the Appalachians, they got the Appalachian magic. They're masters also of herbalism. They know what plants and what stuff to go out that can get, that they can mix together, that can help in your health and can help in different parts of your life and everything like that. But a lot of them stories are passed down by word. They're not wrote down, they're passed down. So you have to get out there and talk to them to find out what's real and what's not. And it's the same way with a lot of the people here in Bayou and a lot of other areas. You get these older generations that have been up in the back of these swamps, and they are great resources to talk to hear the old stories and hear the legends that are passed down, the legends and stories that are passed down by mouth that are not wrote down anywhere in any library. It's phenomenal how much fun you can have just sitting down and letting somebody open up and talk. Reports I'm working on right now are right below Winfield. There are 3 reports. One of them I've confirmed with another gentleman here that he heard about, and another one right now I'm trying to track down a hog hunter back during hunting season here, husband and wife. The way I was told the story, husband and wife were out hog hunting. The wife shot a hog, downed it. They waited to see if another hog was going to come out, because a lot of times when you shoot one, the second one will come out to either try to protect it or check to see what happened. Well, after a little bit of time passed, they decided to go ahead and pick that hog up and head back. Well, when they got out to it, the hog wasn't there, and they reported seeing a large, hairy man with this hog under his arm, a 250-pound hog, not dressed out, still fully there, and it left with their hog they shot. I got this by third person, but I'm tracking it back through the line because a lot of people are still kind of hesitant to want to come forward and tell their full story. And so sometimes you got to backtrack to find out what's real and what's not. This one, what made it real interesting on this one, not only that one, but in the same vicinity of the same part of that parish, a mother and son, is what I was told, were driving down the road, and the son seen something, and the mother stopped the truck to ask him what he seen, and he told her, "Don't stop, Mom, he's coming after us, go, go, go." And they took off. And another young lady in that same part of the parish, within the last 6-month time frame, said she was going down the road one night, late in the evening, seen a Bigfoot, and wound up wrecking her car. Thankfully, by what I was told, she was okay and everything. And those 3 reports happened in the same part of a parish on the lower side of Wynn Parish, right off of the Kisatchie Forest, which is one of the big main forest areas here in Louisiana. You have the Kisatchie, which is a lot of big timber, a lot of pine timber, covers from North Louisiana down to central and on down to where I-10 crosses South Louisiana. And then you have the Atchafalaya, which picks up from there and comes on down through the southern parts of Louisiana. One of the theories I had that I brought up on other occasions, and I would love to be able to prove one day, and one day I'm going to work harder at really give this a chance to see where it goes at, is working with Gavin Jr. out of Texas. Looked at old Spanish stories of a Spanish highway, and we've had conversations on this,
Mm-hmm.
me and you. Spanish highway that ran from Florida across Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas.
Old Kings Highway.
Old Kings Highway. And where those 3 reports are at just happen to be in the same vicinity of where me and Gavin are theorizing the Old Kings Highway came across Louisiana at.
Yeah, you're talking about Baltimore then.
Baltimore, right. Me and Baltimore have talked about that on several occasions. And these 3 reports that I heard that I'm following up on go along that same track that we're theorizing the Old Kings Highway ran. Now, my theory is, and you've heard it before, that I believe the Bigfoot migrate between Louisiana and Texas, depending on the time of year and what they're looking for, and the way the weather patterns might run. It's the same theory that we've had along the Appalachian Trail, that I talked with Daniel Benoit along the Appalachian Trail, Fred Caney. Fred, me and him have talked about that. Me and you've had discussions about the waterways coming up through Kentucky, up through Ohio, and places like that. They use the waterways over there where you're at, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of great waterways that they can use. So it's these theories of migration patterns that I believe are going to give us a different view to the Bigfoot's actions. Now with the coming year and everything, hopefully I can expand on that theory to show that the migration patterns are going to be very important for us to look at to determine the time of year that the Bigfoot may be in one area and not in another area, but where they may be at this time of years, that we can come to understand them better and figure out who they are or anything else. Now, where this ties in with a lot of my research in the occult and stuff like that is that Native American medicine men had a lot of knowledge of the areas of forest and what's there and not. So there's no set principle that may say, why does not the Bigfoot have that same knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
He's been around a lot longer than we have on understanding the outdoors. That they pass down about plants and animals and movements and how to take care of themselves, how to deal with sickness or anything like that. And it could be some of their migration patterns is because of certain plants or certain properties that they're looking for to keep their health, keep their diet, keep their system running the way it should as far as digestion and circulatory and all that goes together. If it affects us, if it affects us, it affects your pets, or it affects wildlife, it affects Bigfoot.
Exactly. While my mind's on it, let's delve into a little bit about the cryptids of Louisiana. Of course, we've already covered the vampires, but I really want to dive into the Rougarou, or as the French called it, the Loup-garou. Let's delve into that a little bit. Tell us a little bit of the backstory on the Rougarou.
Okay. The Rougarou, as the French called it, the Loup-garou, originally came from France. And there is several different legends, especially through Louisiana here. Every year Houma, Louisiana has the Rougarou Festival. And but the Rougarou is not a shapeshifter like a werewolf would be. A Rougarou, it goes through not the lunar cycle, but it goes through cycles of days. Now, one story that I had heard that a young man, Houma Indian, was at home one night. His parents had went out. He had put his sisters to bed. And he was sitting there, got him something to drink, and was sitting at the table. A noise started. He heard a noise on the front porch and something hitting on his door, the front door and everything. And I want to make sure I get this right. I don't want to do the story any injustice. Well, something happened. I think he went and got his parents' gun or something like that. Well, he wound up doing harm to this Rougarou. Well, the next day he was walking down the road and he passed a gentleman working on his fat traps or boat or something like that. And the injury that he had given to the Rougarou the night before, that gentleman had the same injury.
I've heard that account as well. It's the one where the Rougarou was trying to get in the house and it was telling him, "Let me in." He said, "No,
Right.
I'm not going to let you in." And then it said, "Let me in." And it broke down the door and like leapt up on the table, and it grabbed the hold of the boy and put a knife in his hand, and he cut the man at the Rougarou, and then the Rougarou let out a shriek and took off out the door. And he went down the dock, and it turned out it was his own cousin.
Right. That is it. And that's the thing about when you investigate a Rougarou report, that your witness that you may be talking to
Yeah, could be the
could actually
Rougarou.
be the Rougarou itself.
Exactly.
So, like I said, it goes through, I want to say like a 100-day cycle or something like that. It's
The
like
110-day cycle. The 110-day cycle.
Right. So, a lot of people say that the Rougarou is a punishment for something. Something that you've done some harm to the swamp, and that's the swamp's repayment to you for doing harm. That's why I tell you, whenever you deal in swamps and bayous and stuff, you have to respect the swamp. You have to respect the bayou. If not, it will make you respect it.
It'll make you atone for your sins.
Right. Now, they say another story connected to that is that the only way to break the cycle is to cut it or to bleed the Rougarou. Like I said, there's several different ways that legend goes, and the thing about with the Rougarou is it's not unlike the Dog Man or a werewolf, lycanthrope, or anything like that. Is that where there is a more bestial thinking of this cryptid. The Rougarou doesn't have that. The Rougarou could still have some human style thinking. There could be a speech pattern. There could be when he transforms back into the daytime, him or her transforms back into the daytime. They could have some memory of what they did. So it's a little different dealing with the Rougarou. The last reports of a Rougarou that I heard came from off I-55, just north of I-10, and back up in the swamp right there that I'm thinking that there's town right there, and I can't think of it right now. Up St. James Parish.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm a little gung ho to go investigate some of that. That's one area, like I was telling you before, between Lake Pontchartrain and 55, I-55 right there, there used to be a little town right there that a voodoo lady used to take care of the residents and everything, because back in the early 1900s, the only way to really see a doctor is they got on a train that morning, went to New Orleans, seen a doctor, and came back that night. So a lot of the people around that settlement right there, they went to this voodoo lady, and she didn't know, her knowing herbalism and stuff and knowing what works for different ailments and everything, she took care of them and everything. Well, when she passed away, there was a freak storm that came, a freak hurricane that came through Louisiana, came up through New Orleans, just to turn up north, and took a sharp right-hand turn and went right across and took that little sediment out, and it destroyed it. As soon as it destroyed it, that hurricane hooked right and headed on up north and blew away. The last reports I heard of Rougarou were up that way. So I haven't been too gung ho to want to go into that area and search him out. I'm pretty much letting him have that area. A lot of older French Cajuns down here, when you talk to them, they'll tell you different stories of Rougarou sightings and stuff that they were seen in different parts of the bayou area down here. That's just one of those things that you don't hear about much because of it being a human to wolf connection there. With the way modern society is coming through, a lot of the belief is being lost.
The more modernization that comes in, the more the old ways are being forgotten.
They're being forgotten. And right now, I think you don't hear much about Rougarous, or you don't hear much about stuff like that. But my feelings is that eventually mankind, they keeps pushing on the swamp and pushing on the swamp and pushing on the swamp. You're going to push it a little too far, and the swamp's going to make you
it's going to push back.
It's going to push back. And I don't think we've heard the last of the root.
Undoubtedly.
I think that's just waiting to come to the front again of the stories and legends. It goes back to respect.
While we're still talking about the swamps and the bayous, there's another creature down there called the Grunch. That's something I've always found a lot of fascination in. Let's talk about the Grunch for a little bit.
The Grunch. The Grunch is there's several stories on the Grunch. The Grunch is it's about 3 foot tall, and they move in packs, just like wild dogs. They move in packs, and where they say they come from is when the voodoo came up with people from Haiti, or the slave trade from Haiti, which came over from Africa. They brought the story of the Grunch with them, and the original story, that the way I heard it, is there was a voodoo priestess that created a devil baby, and when he was born, the way they was going to stop him was to create more, and they say that's where the Grunch came from. So the Grunch, it moves through the swamp. The most reports that I've ever heard of with the Grunch come from Honey Island up above Slidell.
Mm-hmm.
Slidell to Pearl River, or Slidell, between Slidell and Mississippi, right there, the Honey Island swamp area. I've heard a lot of reports of them moving around through there. A lot of the residents up there have said they've seen them.
What's the description of the Grunch usually entail?
About 2 to 3 foot tall. They could walk by people on all fours. It's kind of like the French version of the chupacabra.
Really?
About the best way I can describe it. There's some people up there that claim they feed the Grunch, and as long as they feed the Grunches don't mess with their stuff. You know, they give them like you could say like a tribute, or they give them food. You know, like you got chicken houses that you got some chickens that they won't use as produce, so you have to cull them out because something's wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
And rabbit farmers, they'll do the same thing. They'll have to cull out something that has genetic imperfections or anything. Well, they might take and put them out there in a certain area, and that's the Grunch's meal. Well, as long as they put that out there, the Grunch don't come to their livestock. They don't come to their farms or livestock or anything else that they have and harm them.
Has there ever been any human attacks by the Grunch?
Yes.
I'm all ears on that one.
Not in recent years. not in recent years. Back in the early 1900s, there were some. The grunts attack with their powerful. They've got claws on their feet, and they'll attack with their claws, and they bite. And it's kind of like the old joke with the raptor out of the Jurassic Park movie is that they would start eating before you were dead. You would actually see yourself being consumed as a meal by a pack of grunches. Now, in the latter part of the 1900s and into the 2000s, the reports of attacks have went down because the people up there have learned to deal with them. They've learned to let them have their area, or if they're in an area that the grunch is at, they've learned how to gift them food, gift them food products that they leave them alone. So it's kind of they've learned how to live next to them. Now there are several organizations here in Louisiana that if it got out of hand, then they may have to go up and track out on them, because they're not a fuzzy little creature or anything like that. They have a lot of human-like skills. It's said that they have a lot of human skills to where they can open doors up, they can use tools, they can do a lot of the dexterous work with their hands.
So are they anything? They're like Cajun form of the puckwudgie?
That would be a good. That would be a good comparison. Yeah, the puckwudgie would be a good comparison to them.
Man.
But they're like I said, they're also compared to the chupacabra because they will drain the blood out through a single. They can come up and drain the blood out of a single bite area too, like you've heard the chupacabra do it. So you're looking at something between the cross of a chupacabra and a puckwudgie.
So a trickster that's not afraid to get violent.
Right.
That's an in-depth description on the grunch that I've heard, and I'm just blown away on that one.
Well, now there's a legend of a place called Rougarou over by Chalmette, Louisiana, which is just below Slidell on the eastern parts of Lake Pontchartrain, and they say along that road that if the night is right, you might actually see a grunch run across the road. So yeah, that comparison to the puckwudgie, yeah, you've got something that has treacherous, because one thing you have to watch about if you was to actually investigate the grunch is he may give you just enough to keep you coming deeper into the swamp, deeper into the swamp, deeper into the swamp, like the puckwudgie. And then you've got something that is waiting to ambush you, that has the skills of a chupacabra with teeth and claws and something that could use primitive tools by the stories. So that's why a lot of the people up through those areas up there, they've had to learn how to deal with them because of them being at those vicinities from Chalmette, Louisiana, up through the Honey Island Swamp area.
So basically, the grunch ain't something to mess with.
No. You don't want to go chase the grunch. The grunch will fool you, drag you deeper into the swamp, and you won't be seen again. You'll become a meal for the grunch.
Now, you were sitting there talking a little bit earlier. Let's move on. You was talking about the Haitian voodoo.
Right.
Has there been any, like, I know that there's a lot of tales that come out of the Haitian voodoo about zombies. Has there been any kind of, like, results of Haitian voodoo resulting in zombies there in Louisiana?
No, not at all. I have never heard of any reports of zombies from any kind of form of voodoo, hoodoo, or anything like that. Not here in Louisiana or in the United States, for that fact. The biggest thing with zombie is that it's not that the person's died and comes back, but it's the introduction of certain chemicals to the body that present that state.
Yeah, because several reports of what descriptions of what a zombie is. It's a reanimated corpse without a soul, and it's just going off voracity and the craving of human flesh. It's a cannibalistic corpse.
Right. Now, so like I said, though, in association with the voodoo and the hoodoo, the zombie is not as much as a reanimated corpse. It's a person that's had chemicals introduced to the body to present that look. Like I said, one thing you got to remember is that voodoo priests and priestesses and hoodoo priests and priestesses, swamp witches, I'll use that term, mountain folk, Appalachian mountain folk, some of the old medicine women up there, they've got an excellent passed down through word of mouth knowledge of herbalism, plants, animals, just different things and how do they go together and how do they do different things. They are walking encyclopedias of pharmacology. They know better than pharmacists what goes on out in nature. They're like your nature's pharmacologist.
Wow.
They have taught. They're taught from early on in their training to the day they pass away. They do nothing but learn. They learn about nature. They learn about plants. They learn about animals. They learn about insects. They learn about the way all that goes together and how to create a different effect in the human body system that is needed or wanted. So, and it's not that all voodoo and hoodoo and swamp witches and it's not that all of that's bad. It's actually the reverse of it. It's actually good because of medically what they bring to the table could be a cure for cancer that nobody's ever thought of, a cure for Alzheimer's that nobody's ever thought of. These people are, like I said, they are nature's pharmacists. They know stuff that we don't know. There could be medicine men with local tribes in the Amazon or different places in the world that they've got this knowledge trapped in their head that hadn't even been touched yet by modern society. So the bad reputation that those people get, those priests and priests get, and those practitioners get, it comes from Hollywood. It comes from fear of the unknown. It comes from a lot of different areas. Just like me and you've had the conversations. It's not something that you like, and that's fine. I respect that and I understand that, and you respect me for my thoughts on it, the way I work with it.
Exactly.
That it's bringing something that is from a different perspective that may not have been looked at before. Because it's like with the Bigfoot and the cryptid investigations, there are some people who are practicing witches that I've talked to and I've discussed with. They love it. They really love Bigfoot research. They love cryptid research. They're very interested in it, and any help that they can give to, if not just telling a story that's been passed down to anything else, they love to help. So
that's very
like I said,
interesting.
the bad rap that they've got is just. I'm here to try to clarify that it's not all bad. There's a lot of good out there that can be gained, especially here in Louisiana. As you said, in the swamp and stuff like that, there's a lot of good that can be gained from those people that we've never looked at before or we've never dealt with before.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I hope I bring out and bring to people that the word occult. Are you familiar with what the word occult means?
I've heard bits and pieces about it, but I never really got a solid definition on it.
Okay, I'm going to give you a solid definition. The word occult is the study of the unknown. That's it. Study of the unknown. And as soon as it's known, it's not occult no more. It's whatever it's known to be. So when people associate, when they do word associations, like I said, thanks again to Hollywood. And, you know, Hollywood has given a lot of bad reputation to a lot of things. I mean, look what Hollywood done to the great white shark. I mean, look what, and we're all guilty of this one. We're all guilty of watching those Bigfoot movies on sci-fi stuff. You know, but they really don't do the Bigfoot justice.
No, because they do stuff like that. They're doing it to make money, to get big ratings, get interest, and it ruins the imagery of what it really is.
Right. So that's where my biggest, like with cryptic CSI, that's what I feel like I try to bring to the team is not only to help in their safety, being able to give them advice if they run into some of the strange and unknown, is that I can help educate that there's now more avenues of resources for information than might have been there before.
Well, that's the reason I brought you in the team. Is I mean, you got such a great expanse of knowledge, and like that someone they're advertising for the conference in Virginia, they put a bio, put in my bio about cryptid CSI. We got a specific skill set that we bring to the table that helps make this team strong. And I mean, there's historians, there's seasoned researchers, outdoorsmen, photographers. Um, there's you're our occult researcher, and I mean, we bring what we can to the table and hope for the best.
Because so by the way, I've got my dowsing rods coming. I've been my dad let me know that my set of dowsing rods are ready to go. So I'll be adding that to my toolkit now that I can use to track and locate cryptid, whether it be here or I get a chance to come up and investigate. I'd love to come up and investigate with you up there in Illinois.
Bring it.
And let's put this stuff to some. Let's really put this stuff to some good use. And I mean, I always joke and say with the dowsing, you can run, but you can't hide. You know, I can find you. It'll find you better than heat sensors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's the biggest thing is from the swamp in Louisiana is to bring it to the open and to show my respect for the swamp, the different religions, not only with the voodoo and the hoodoo, the swamp magic and stuff like that. I mean, even the people of this state that to bring their story out, it's this traditions because, as you know, I mean, I love this state. This state to me is very unique to a lot of the other places I've ever been, but also to help explain what people don't understand, whether it be Bigfoot, whether it be the Rougarou, whether it be the Grunch, whether it be the Honey Island Swamp Monster, which, as you know, I'm going up there to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
June 22nd, June 23rd, I'll be up there in Honey Island Swamp. Going up there, and let's see if we can. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get some grunches to come running around, or if the Honey Island Swamp Monster will show his, kind of peek out up there. So maybe I'll come back after that weekend and have a good grunge story for you.
Well, I look forward to it, buddy, and I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate that. And, this is something I enjoy. This is something I enjoy doing. And the way I feel is with our organization and with people that we help, if I do my job right and everybody comes back from an investigation safe and we're able to help people to understand the unexplainable, then I feel like that's a success. I mean, every day is a success.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That's the reason we do what we do, buddy.
and I'm glad to do it, because some of this stuff, I mean, it can be pretty scary. I mean, we've all had our run-ins that if somebody says they don't get scared doing this,
they're lying to you.
Huh?
They're lying to you then.
Yeah, because, oh yeah, I mean, and it ain't even got to be a cryptid. I mean, you get out there, you get out on a dark night around a marshy area, you got a full moon out there, you hear the crickets going, then all of a sudden a dead young beaver splashes the water. And you talk about make your heart jump through your throat, and that'll give you a pucker up.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else that'll get you is, especially up in North Louisiana, you get back up in there in Doug Limoni Swamp, and late night, nice and quiet, and all of a sudden you hear one of the big old swamp black panthers start squalling out in the middle of the night.
Sounds like someone's dying then.
Oh yeah, and but that'll make you that'll make that pucker factor get a little tighter.
Oh yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. We've got mountain lions here in southern Illinois, and I've heard them scream, and it sounds like someone's getting gutted.
Like I said, especially on dark nights, you're not really expecting it, and it's quiet, and you hear the crickets and everything, and you start getting all them nice, cheerful thoughts in your mind and everything. That you hear that, and it brings you back to the reality of, all right, now I need to get myself back. I need to tighten up, because there's things out here that go bump in the night that slap me around and make me run crying to mama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting close to the end. Let's leave it here on this note. Don't be afraid of the dark. Be afraid of what hunts in the dark.
It's not be afraid of it. Respect it.
Exactly.
Respect what hunts in the dark, and give it its space.
And I agree with you on that. So, before we go, Stacy, do a couple little bit of closer questions here. If anybody in your area has a report they'd like to turn in and have you investigate or follow up on, how can they reach you?
Well, you can reach me through our Cryptic CSI on Facebook. I check there often for any information. They can send us a message there. They can send me one on my personal Facebook. I'll take them there. They can also email me. You can email me at stacy.caughlin@yahoo.com and send me emails if you need to.
Yeah, and especially if anybody's didn't catch that email, check out Cryptid CSI. All our emails are there.
Yes, and if we won't, I won't think nothing wrong, because if you have a report and you feel like you need help to understand it, you want to talk to somebody about it, then feel free to contact me. I'm not gonna judge. We're not here to judge you. We're here to help.
Definitely not. We're definitely here to help.
And just, email me your information if you want me to, return your phone call or give you a phone call or anything like that. Feel free to leave your contact information. I will contact you as soon as I can, and we can chat all you want to. And you can tell me your story, and if it takes more than one phone call, that's what we'll do. And I'll be glad to help look into and help people out to understand what has happened to them and what they've experienced.
Yeah, and I highly recommend do contact the Cryptid Crime Scene Investigators, which is made up of me and Stacy here, David Thundercloud, Fred Caney, Rich Daniels, Brian Jeffries, and Michael Cairo, along with me here in Illinois, Matt Delph out of Tennessee, Daniel Benoit and Fred Caney in Virginia. We're stretched all over, and usually if you're going to reach somebody, it's going to be us, and we all have that skill set that makes us such a successful team. So you got a lot of guys that can do a whole lot of work at once. Once we start putting it, yeah, you got a great team to work with, and not only that, we get the report in. I put the guys to work, and I do my own little work on the case too. So, do check out Cryptid CSI with us. And one final question before we go: what shred of wisdom would you leave our viewers with, Stacy?
Don't be scared or don't worry about sharing your experience. Respect what you've seen and don't worry about sharing your experience with us at Cryptid CSI because we're not going to judge you. And be safe out in the woods. Be safe in everything that you do. Just respect the All-Father, respect Mother Nature, respect the earth, and it will take care of you.
Best advice you can give. Well, buddy, I do greatly appreciate you coming on my show, Stacy. It's been
been fun.
It's been an amazing time, buddy, and hopefully you've educated a lot of people on what you know and what you've shared tonight.
Well, I mean, we always have fun when we're together, bro.
Yep. All right, pal. Well, it's been good talking to you, and I'll see you on the trail. Hopefully, I can get down to Louisiana and hang out with you.
Hey, if not down here, I got to come up there to you.
Oh, bring it on, buddy. My door's open.
Oh, yeah. All right, buddy. Well, you take care.
Have a good evening, Stace.
You too, bud.
Bye. And that does it, everybody, for another episode of Backwoods Investigations. Dark Bayou, the name of the episode, with Stacy Caughlin. I do invite everybody to check out the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters team on Facebook, and also the group that me and Stacy founded called Cryptid Crime Scene Investigators, or Cryptid CSI. It's on Facebook. Look us up. It's skull and crossbones for our profile picture, and it's got Cryptid CSI and red writing. There's a lot of us on that team, seasoned researchers, that would be more willing to help. If you have a report you want to turn in to us, send us a message. We'll be glad to answer, and most likely Stacy will be the one to get back to you. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel, guys. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe. Leave a comment that you subscribed. I'll give you a shout out. Just be sure to check us out. Also, give a couple plugs. It's coming up real quick, June 30th and July 1st in Fishersville, Virginia, at the Augusta Expo Hall. The ECBRO First Annual Virginia State Bigfoot Conference is coming up. All-star lineup. I'll be there emceeing. July 27th, starting at 6 o'clock in the evening at the Crab Orchard Public Library in Crab Orchard, Illinois. I will be speaking there and giving a Bigfoot seminar. It's free to the public. Come on out. It's a meet and greet, the seminar, a Q&A. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's family friendly, so bring your kids out, bring the family out. October 19th through the 21st in Bays Mountain Park, in Kingsport, Tennessee, the Tennessee Bigfoot Conference is going on. I will be there speaking along with Dr. John Stamey, Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, Papa Strom Maestro, Rob Kellum, Matthew Delph, the She Squatchers. We will all be there to give our take on the Bigfoot phenomenon. So, that being said, everybody, I do again thank you for tuning in tonight to this episode of Backwoods Investigations titled Dark Bayou. Be sure to tune in next time for the next episode, everybody. So until then, keep a wary eye out, keep your ears to the wind, and your nose to the ground. And I'll see you guys next time on Backwoods Investigations. Stay squatchy, everybody, and God bless y'all.